and
I've also paid for
windows.
title insurance. I've also paid for title insurance and doc stamps before because I didn't disclose what the costs were for a seller. So many refrigerators, chandeliers, lights, ceiling fans. Yeah.
All right, let's get this started off. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Today, damn good to see you, Craig. How are you, old boy?
Amazing, my friend. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. So Craig and I go, I don't know, Jesus.
2004.
At least, yeah, I was going to say it's hysterical. I remember I will never, ever forget joining you guys out in New Orleans and then just for mega camp or whatever it was, doesn't matter. But anyway, we have a very, very long history. I am just ecstatic that he's on the call. But let's do some housekeeping before we get started with this. Y'all know where we're going with this. If you have an opportunity, put your faces on. We want to see you. I promise you the energy is much, much more important than you know. It sure does help a lot. So please just give us your faces, give us a smile. I got 49 faces up here. I want to see every single one.
Oh, Jay, what?
DeFalco's laying in bed, but he's on. That's all that matters. In just a second, Tiffany will come up with, I think she's got some training for us as well. Y'all remember, we're 2 weeks away from the summit. I'm looking at the list of who's speaking at this and what's going on. You need to be here. You just make this happen. Joe, do me a favor, hit it. Put the link in there. Y'all need to do this. It's for you yourself. I'm not doing it for me. I saw all these people out in Dallas. And well, actually, I am doing it for me. Who we kidding? Because they're just amazing. This is for your business. This is for your energy. My mission, and we're going to do it, is every level of energy here. It's going to go through the roof. Momentum is the secret to almost everything. Once you're in momentum, it's harder to slow down. You get more done. You're going to be more productive, and you're going to have the life that you choose to have. You can choose to stay where you're at right now and say, okay, where is my trajectory going to go? Or you can put yourself into momentum. You can make an action right now that will change your trajectory. Your choice. Stay the course, do the same thing, get the same results, or move further. It's up to you. Make the action. Take action now. 1, 2, 3, go. Tiffany, we got some housekeeping real quick.
Yes, we've got eye conversations at 11:30 today, and that's in the main auditorium. And then we've got safety matters at 1 p.m.
Right on. Outstanding. Thank you very much, Ms. Tiffany. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get into this as we go. So Craig is, Craig and I've known each other for a very, very long time. This is my introduction. I'm going to let Tom do an introduction as well, just because I want to bring it up. Craig is an accredited coach, owns a real estate company, real estate business out in London, in England, and has been coaching agents, helping people for years. He is now Tom Martin's personal coach in Tom's real estate career at this point. So y'all take the magnitude of that. Tom's a coach by himself, and this is who he hired. Okay, makes a lot of impact as far as I'm concerned. Tom, I'm gonna let you take it away from there, and then let's turn it over to Craig. Let him run with it.
So good morning, everyone, and Craig, thanks for being on the call this morning. Craig is actually doing this as a favor to me, but also to give back to you guys. When I was looking for a coach, I wanted someone to know what my goals were and not just go, okay, what's your goal? Okay, blah blah blah. No. I wanted someone truly that would invest in me, that cared about my success and my pathway, and he knows a lot about my behavior. So he puts me in check too, and I'm okay with that, and that's great. So one of the things that Craig has been really phenomenal at is always about the relationship, but he's also knows the numbers. He knows the economics behind how to grow your business. He coaches some very highly successful real estate teams, and he coaches individuals, and he coaches me on my leadership for the growth of EXP. So when I asked Craig, hey, I'd love to have you on a call, and I feel that database is always the biggest opportunity that agents miss because we're always afraid to make the call. We're always afraid of this. We're always afraid of that, or whatever it may be. We're leaving too much money on the table. He said, Tom, I got it. He said, I have an idea. The relationship is worth more than the transaction, and it's about the relationship in your database. So with that being said, I'm going to let Craig dig in. He's got a ton of information to share with you. I will have him on another call in the near future within the next couple of weeks to do a second part of this. So if you're driving, obviously don't take notes. Go back and listen to it. It is being recorded. So I appreciate all the 72 people on here right now. I hope you get tremendous value. Go ahead, Craig.
Fantastic. Thank you for the build-up. Okay, I'm going to hit you guys with some numbers initially, and then we're going to talk about the relationship through questions. Okay, so the numbers I just want you to talk about is every agent I coach, we do two things. We build the top 50 cheerleaders, people that actually want us to be successful and want us to be great. And we build 300 people that we build relationships with that live, work, or associate locally where we want to do business. Okay. Number one, I don't care if you're doing 24 transactions or 200. If you have a team of 5 people and you're doing 200 deals, then think about this for each of your team members. If you're a single agent doing 24, 36, 48 deals, think about this. If you have 50 cheerleaders and they give you one piece of business in 1 year, so me and George stay in relationship for a whole year and he gives me one piece of business and I've got 50 people like George, that's 50 opportunities to do business just by having 50 people. If you got 50 referrals into your business in the next 6 months, what would your business look like? So the number one thing we look to do is grow that 50 cheerleaders. Number two, 300 people we're in relationship with. If you talk about that in terms of closing as a 10 to 20% conversion rate of 30 deals to 60 transactions from 300 people. If you look at your business right now and you do not have 300 people in your world, then what I would suggest is go grow it. If you do not have 50 people in your world giving you at least one business opportunity per year, per person, which is 50 opportunities to do business, go find 50 cheerleaders. That's the number one and number two things that every person I coach with as an agent, we build that from the off. You can have more or you can have less, but it's a target that we aim for. Now, I want to give you two numbers. The most purest number that you have in your real estate business is the number of new people you add to your business. Forgive the scruffy line drawing, but can you guys all see my screen?
Yes.
Tiffany, right?
Yes. Yes.
You can see my screen. Okay.
Yes.
What I want you to do is I'll send this through to Tom and Tom can distribute this out. This little line drawing is your business. Your business comes from either agents referring your business, brand new people, or your database that brings to your leads. If you do not have a target for agent to agent referrals, brand new business and database, then you're missing out on an opportunity to grow your business. Every agent on this call should know how many appointments they need to hit their goal. What I'm asking is, do you know how many new people you need in your business to actually drive your business forward? So let me just give you a couple of quick numbers. If as a simple measure, you added 3 people to your business every single day over a 50-week year, you would add 750 people to your business. 3 people a day, 5 days a week, 15 people per week, 750 people in a 50-week year. If you added 750 people in your business in 1 year by targeting 3 people per day as a focus, if 10% of the world are thinking of moving, that would be 75 opportunities in that year for business, just by simply adding 3 people. Know your numbers and know your focus. This is not a goal, it's a minimum standard. Number 2, we talk about the relationship. If you're going to call 300 people 4 times per year to build that relationship, that's 5 calls a day, 25 calls per week. 25 calls per week over a 50-week year is 1,250 calls in a year. Think about the 2 numbers I've just given you. 3 people added to your business every day, 5 relationship calls every day. Now, you tell me one single person on this call that couldn't add 3 people to their business or speak to 5 people in 1 day. It's the most simplest thing in the world. That adds up to 2,000 conversations in a year. If you need 50 appointments, 60 appointments to drive your business, if you had 2,000 conversations in a year, do you believe you could get to 60 appointments? It's simple numbers. If you do not target your purposeful minimum standards to basic numbers of how many people do I have to my business, how many relationship calls do I do, and how many appointments do I want, should be 3 numbers that should be ingrained in your minimum standards, not goals, minimum standards for your business. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So they're the numbers and they're out the way. The other number I want to give you is 85% of business comes from follow-up. which means if you do not have a database where you're communicating with that database on a regular basis, you're living in a 15% world. 85% of our business comes from follow-up. So if you do not have a follow-up system in your database of some way, shape, or form, you're living in a 15% world. So they're the numbers, they're out the way. So I'm just going to repeat them very quickly. Set yourself a minimum standard for new people to your business. 3 a day gives you 750 people in a year. Create a minimum standard for relationship calls every day. 5 calls a day allows you to communicate with 300 people over a year by calling them 4 times a year. That gives you a 10 to 20% return on closings to 300 people, which is 30 to 60 transactions. In this group right now, if you got a 10% return from 300 people and that was 30 closings in a year, what would your business look like? And the final one is 50 cheerleaders. If you have 50 people in your world that support you, love you, and want you to be successful, and they give you 1 person every year, that's 50 opportunities to do business, either today or in the future. Those are the basics that I coach with every single agent I work with. Okay, that's the numbers done, Tom. Now we can get into the conversations. So on those numbers, Tom, do they match with what you talk about generally from an economic model point of view?
100%. I always talk about the 5 to 5, 5 to 25, right? On all my calls and with my coaching clients is 5 conversations a day is 1,250 conversations a year, which equals a very low ratio. And this is new business. That's 25 transactions a year at a 2.5 to 3% conversion. So yeah, the numbers always tell a story, always tell a story. That's why in sports, there's a scoreboard. What's your scoreboard? What's your scoreboard?
Yeah, cool. But what I want to emphasize to the group today, Tom, is that when you create your lead generation model, create minimum standards. Goals are great, but minimum standard is your job. So if your minimum standard is 5 calls a day, just do it. If you can make 20, great. But if its minimum is 5, just do it. Creating minimum standards in your business is probably more important than anything you ever do, because it's something you work by, it's something you focus on, and it's something you attain to do every single day, every single week for the whole year. Create your minimum standards in your business, not just your stretch goals. Okay, let's get into conversations. So here's my challenge to you. Raise the bar on your conversations with every person you have. If you have a new real estate conversation today, what are the opportunities in that conversation? Number 1, client. Number 2, future client. Number 3, referral. Number 4, review. You imagine if you have 5 unique, brand new real estate conversations every day, and you were able to create client, future client, referral, or review just because you raised the bar on your conversations, what would your business look like in 13 weeks, 90 days from now? What stops you getting something from every single conversation? How do you make those conversations powerful?
So client, future client,
referral, or review. Let me just run through this with you, Tom. So we've just had a great conversation about real estate, or you're not even looking to be a client. You're just asking me what I do for a living, and I tell you. And I say to you, Tom, here's an interesting fact. We spent 10 minutes talking about real estate. Has anybody ever taught you about real estate like this before? You're going to say no, because I'm amazing.
No, you're amazing.
There you go. So here's a simple thing. I know you're not looking to move right now, Tom, but I've got a question for you. If you and your family were looking to move, would you be happy for me to be your agent? Would you call me out to talk to you about moving home?
You know what? Why not? Yeah, absolutely. I don't have an agent that I work with.
Cool. Future client. Number 2. So Tom, my business is built out referrals and review. If you knew someone right now that you believe needed a help with anything to do with real estate, or any questions to do with real estate at all, would you be happy to connect me?
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Note the word connect. Recommend, referral are big words. You don't know me, so why would you recommend me? Because you don't know me, but you could connect me, which is dead simple. So you think about the word I'm using. I'm using the word connect. Would you connect me? Connect is a very simple thing. If I need something, would you connect me to someone so I could talk to them and they could make their decision whether I'm the right agent is less than recommend or referral. So if this is a new conversation, I would strongly recommend you use the word connect. Final thing, Tom, and I do appreciate you saying that. If I sent you a link right now, based on the conversation we had, would you be happy to give me a review? Because my business is built on referrals and reviews.
Yeah, please send it over.
Cool. So all I'm saying is, if you think about it, if you raise the bar on your conversation, it gives you the confidence to ask. Think about that. If you came out of every single conversation you had for the next 90 days with a future client, a referral or review, or referral opportunity or review, what would your business look like? And how do you get to that point? So the biggest question I'm going to ask here, Tom, today is, how is everybody on this call improving their conversations or practicing their conversations to know that they're asking better questions to the people they're talking to?
You know what? I think that little piece that you just did for me is a huge aha, the future client referral, because we know that when we talk to people, are we really bringing in the real estate conversation? Are we doing it? Most of us are not. Some of us are not. Are we purposeful all the time? I'm not. And I love the fact that you go into the future client referral. Connect me.
Okay, so let's just talk about that. How do we bring real estate into a conversation without it making it a sales call? Okay, once I've done this with Tom, I want you to give me some feedback on this of whether you think this is complete BS, it would never work, or whether you say, I could actually bring this in. There's two ways of bringing a conversation to real estate without it being a sales conversation. So if I'm talking to you, Tom, and I say, look, you know what I want to achieve as a real estate agent. You know I want to give great customer service to every person I talk to. And I'm always looking for feedback of how I can do things better. I'm curious, when was the last time you needed to talk to or use a real estate agent? You ask that question, you'll be surprised of the answer. You're asking it as like a customer survey conversation, Tom. I'm always looking to improve. I'm always looking to get better. When was the last time you needed a real estate agent or you used a real estate agent? I will tell you right now, Tom might say to me, well, fun enough, I speak to one every week because I have investment properties. Bang. Do you know what? Funny you should say that. My mum's thinking of downsizing and we've just started that conversation with agents right now. You'll be amazed at the conversation. Number three is Tom says, do you know what? I haven't used one for years. We bought our house 5 years ago and we've never even thought about it ever since then. Okay, may I ask you a question, Tom? The agent that you bought the house through, was it a good transaction? Did everything go great? Remember, this is like a customer survey conversation. Tom gives me the answer. And I'm really curious, is that agent still in your phone? You ask that question based on a customer survey, you'll find out whether the agent did a great job, a poor job, whatever, because now your goal is to get your number into Tom's phone to be his real estate agent of choice. You'll be amazed at the reaction you get when you ask people a question. When was the last time you needed or spoke to a real estate agent? Number two, Tom, this is my favorite question on the planet. Are you living in your forever home? So let me just ask you this question. Everybody on this call that's got their video on right now, if you are living in your forever home and you will never move from your forever home, put your hand up right now. It's pretty much the same as your database. Let me ask you this question. How many people see themselves moving in the next 5 years? Okay, think about that question for the forever home. So Tom, this is one of my favorite questions on the planet. You're talking to your database and I'm going to talk to you and I want you to give me your real life answer to your situation. So Tom, I've lost a little bit of touch with you. So where are you living right now?
New Smyrna Beach.
Fantastic. You've been there a little while now. How long have you been there?
16 years now.
Wow, man. So the house you're living in right now, how long have you been in that property?
16 years.
16 years, man. When you bought that 16 years ago, did you know that was going to be your forever home?
No.
So what made you stay?
You know what? Just establishing security for the kids to get through school.
Fantastic. So do you ever see yourself moving?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay. Now we're in a real estate conversation. I can pick anybody on this call. Let me go back to, I can see a guy called Will Matthews. He's jumping on my screen right now and he's got Florida in behind his head. So Will, Where are you living right now?
I live in Claremont, Florida.
Fantastic. How long you been there?
We've been here.
Oh man.
Oh man,
For the bus signal.
Will froze up on us.
This is
Try red.
dramatic. This is dramatic effect. So Red, where are you living right now?
South Orlando.
Fantastic. So whereabouts specifically?
I've been 5 years.
Hunters Creek, South Chase area.
Fantastic. So how long you been there?
Just under 2 years.
Fantastic. So just 2 years in the property you're living in right now?
Yes, just 2 years.
Fantastic. So here's where I'd ask Red what made him choose that area and blah, 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 tell me. Then I'd get to that question that says, so I'm just curious, Red, when you bought that house 2 years ago, was that where you were planning to be forever? Is that your forever home?
No, my wife and I, I was a basketball coach, so we've taught overseas and bounced around and rented a lot of places. So we thought it was time to settle down till our girls get out of high school in about 4 more years, and then we'll figure out what we want to do from there.
Okay, so the reality is we can get into a real estate conversation from there. All I'm saying is there's 2 aspects that get you talking to your people is when was the last time you spoke to an agent? Do it from a customer survey perspective. And are you in your forever home? They create conversations around real estate. And the final thing I'm going to talk to you about right now is, are you all running a database system? Do you all have people in your phone? Do you all have people in a database system? Is there anybody on this call that just is not collecting information of people? Okay. What I'm going to challenge you to is I want you to think about, and I'll go back to talking to you, Tom, because it's easier to do it that way. But if you think about 5 things you would want to know about me if I was in your database.
Where do you live?
Yeah.
Your family?
Yeah.
Your pets?
Yeah.
Anniversary, birthdays.
Okay. So you're going super personal. Okay. So
Yeah.
Tom's going super personal. So his relationship is so he can get super personal with regards to me, my family, etc., etc. Okay. So if he nominates the 5 things he wants to know, his goal over the next 18 months is to make sure he gets those 5 things. Okay. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. I'm very much more about occupation. So one of the things I'm interested in is, number 1, what do you do for a living? How do you earn your money? And can I help with that? Number 2, are you in your forever home? Number 3 is, if you're not in your forever home, if I could get a guide date on 4 years for school, 2 years for school for Tom or whatever, if I can get a guide date on years, that makes it really, really powerful. So think about the way we look at this. In the terms of Tom's database, it's a very personal one. Anniversaries makes me connect. I'm thinking very much more occupational. How do you earn your money? How can I contribute to that? But the number 1 thing I want to know about every single person in my database at some point is, number 1, are you in your forever home? If not, what's likely to cause you to move and when you're likely to do that? And do you own another property? Know the things you want to know about the people. Write 5 things down that you want to know about the people in your database and spend the next 12 months to 18 months finding that out. Make your database purposeful. Do not make it a checklist. Do not come on this call and say, I've called my 5 people, Craig. I've sent my 24 emails. I've done this. It's like check, 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 check. What do you want the outcome to be of this conversation? What do you want the outcome of your database to be? How do you make it the best database in the world? If for Tom, it's knowing all the personal stuff about people. If for me, it's knowing more about the business side of it. But ultimately, what I want to know is, do you own more than 1 property? Are you in your forever home? If you were going to move, what would cause it to move? And by what time frame do you think that's going to happen? You imagine if you had a sell by date on every single person in your database right now, what would your database look like? So Red, if you had 300 people in your database and you had a sell by date for every single person in there, what would your database look like?
It looked like a lot of cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-chings.
So go build it. So go build it. That's all I'm saying. Know what you want it to look like and go build it. Simple as that. Okay, we've got 4 minutes left to 9 o'clock, hard finish. So we've talked about the basic numbers. So create your minimum standards of what you want to do to build your database. Create your minimum standards of how you want to communicate with your database. Know the questions that lead you into a conversation about real estate. raise the bar on those conversations, but ultimately know the 5 things you want to know about everybody in your database and make sure you nail it over the next 12 to 18 months. And number 1 and number 2 is know the number you're building to. 300 people in relationship, a top 50, and you will have a business to die for. Cool. 3 minutes left, Tom.
So
can we open it to questions?
I would like to open it up to whoever has questions, and then I can take over after that onto Q&A.
And I've given a lot of information here, and I forewarned you I was going to fire hose you, and we can break this back down. But just give me one thing that you've taken from today that you think you can implement. So let's go back to you, Red, because we were talking with you before. So one thing you've taken from this that you think you can implement to make your business better.
I think definitely looking back at the notes, talking with 3 different people, getting them in my database and coming up with those minimum standards for every day.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I have to do to make my business more successful.
Yeah, cool. So Will, you look like you're unfrozen now.
Maybe, hope so.
You're good.
So one thing you've taken from this that you think you can implement to make things better for your business.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just the clarity in the numbers. What do I need to do? And one of the things that has come to me in a couple of different mediums is, and I have the quote on my wall here, it's when you follow any reliable plan to accomplish an important goal, once you commit yourself to it, you forget about the goal and focus instead on the individual steps forward.
Mm-hmm.
You concern yourself with one step at a time. If the plan is a good one, the goal will take care of itself.
Yeah.
So, just like you said, take those numbers, get them laid out there, and then don't look at them anymore. Just do the steps,
Yeah.
and you're going to get there.
Fantastic. So Sasha, I know you're driving, but you spoke at the beginning just to say what you were looking for at this call. Has this helped you today?
Yeah, I definitely like, getting your 5 questions. And if I can figure out exactly what it is that I want to ask each and every one of them, I think I would have better conversations with the people in my database.
Yeah. Just remember, you can have a purposeful conversation by knowing the outcome you want. So it doesn't just become a check-in. It becomes a purposeful conversation. It can still sound like a chat with a friend, but it still can be purposeful.
Holly, I know you had your hand raised. Is there anything you want to ask Craig? He's got to get off in like 45 seconds.
I just wanted to say definitely aha moment. I think that's just brilliant. I never would have thought about kind of using those key points of like their personal life timeline and their career, and do they own other houses, and kind of weaving that into a timeline for follow-up and further lead generation over the years. I just think that's brilliant. Just mind blown right now. I'm definitely going to put this into action. Sorry.
Cool. Yeah, and don't overcomplicate it. If you want to know something about people, you can either ask them directly or indirectly, but just make sure you ask. I mean, you can either do it direct or indirect. Now, George is a lot more direct than me as a person, so he might just ask someone outright. I'm less direct, so I might ask people indirectly. It really makes no difference as long as the outcome is, the 5 things you want to know about the person you're talking to. But I cannot stress enough, when you talk about when was the last time you spoke or dealt with an agent as a customer survey kind of conversation, people open up tremendously. And when you talk about the forever home, it's amazing, and you'll be so amazed at the responses you get when you ask that forever home question.
I love that question.
Yeah.
That question, that are you living in your forever home? I never even thought to ask it, and that was just like boom. That's a fantastic question.
Because it's not a sales question. It's just out of curiosity, Terry, you've been living there for like 5 years and it's a great neighborhood. I'm just curious, when you bought it, did you make your mind up that this was going to be your forever home? And if so, what do you love about the neighborhood? It's just a conversational question that just opens up a door to actually 90% of the population are not living in their forever home. Cool. Okay, Tom, is there anything else you want me to cover? Or are we good?
No, we're good, and I'm love to have you back on a part 2, 3, 4, and 5, and all that. So thank you so much for the call. We appreciate you, and thank you for your time. Enjoy enjoy your day.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
See ya, my friend. Okay, so So Craig is now off the call, and he had a hard stop at 9. Just so you guys know, some of the top coaches in the world, they coach for 30 minutes at max, because there's such an overload of information to help and guide that anything longer than that can put mass confusion in. So what I'd like to ask is, what were your big ahas? What do you like more clarity on? And how are you going to take action in what you heard today?
I like the fact that, he mentioned how easily you can connect with over 1,200 people in 1 year. I mean, just talking to, between 3 and 5 people in one day can get you those kind of numbers. I thought that was interesting.
It's like compound interest, right, Jay? You talk to 3 people today and you make it a purposeful conversation 5 days a week for 1 full year at 46 weeks, you're already talking to 1,300 people, 800 to, and by the way, if you have a 5% conversion on that, you're at 35 sales. So, and one of the things that he said was, I thought was pretty amazing. I always call him lead in to the conversation of real estate. Hey, how you doing? What do you think about the weather today? Whether it's raining, hot, sweaty, cold, it doesn't matter. Oh my gosh. Hey, do you live in the area? Oh, so he talks about client, future client, and referral. And, that's how you build a database. Are we all being purposeful every day, at kids' games, school teachers, whatever it may be, doctors' offices, people in line? Are we being purposeful on what we do? That's awesome. 5 conversations a day should equate to 25. Absolutely. Yes, Deborah, that's exactly right. That's the power of 5. So, and by the way, guys, there's agents on here that are going to do 200 transactions. If they had 5 more conversations a day, they'd have 25 more sales. Or if their whole entire team had 3 to 5 more conversations, that could be huge, massive, massive. So the numbers tell a story. All right. Did everyone get a screenshot of his graph? New business, building your database, creates leads, agent referrals, going on appointments, seller sales, buyer contracts, seller contracts, and then close. He's going to send that off, and then I'll send it to everybody. Okay. Any other ahas? We still have 75 more people on the call. Let's make it very interactive.
Tom,
Deep, there you go, bud.
First of all, going back to every call that you do on Fridays, it's all about numbers, and it just keeps on ringing the same thing over and over. So thank you for doing that. My aha moment for him was very simple. Create minimum standards. Love that part. We get pressured with it our own selves. I did yesterday because I'm trying to change my game plan in my next year's business, because I'm already, as per George, I'm already focusing on 2022. Not 2021. F that. It's over and done with. So I'm trying to create some rules and regulations for myself that I need to step in, schedule my timings, start focusing slowly. And I'm overwhelmed when I go to my database and put a category that I want to contact. And yesterday was that aha for me. For him to say that 2 words really kind of gives me a bigger picture. Minimum standards. Don't get overwhelmed. Create 5 calls today. Create 2 calls today. As gradually grow it, that's all that matters. As long as I'm doing that minimum standards.
There's a guy I know in Atlanta. He does not take. His price point might change a little bit, but 4 years ago he would not take a listing over $400,000. His criteria was 200 to 400. Period. Everything else got referred out. And his reason behind that is he's going to spend more money, more marketing time, and homes over that price sat on the market way longer. And he wanted to invest in his price point, which created more sales. And by the way, he was doing anywhere from 60 to 80 million, 60 to 65 million in sales. So that was his minimum standard. That was his standard. He set a standard. Another one is I have a really good friend of mine that I brought her into the business years ago. She almost left the business and almost had major heart attack and stress and all this other stuff in her life because someone came to her and said, hey, I want to buy a $3 million restaurant. And she knew nothing about commercial real estate, spent 9 months trying to put this restaurant under, she got it under contract. It never closed. And guess what? She forgot about everything else in that 9 months, depending on that one sale. Set a standard. If you're not a commercial realtor, refer it out. If you're not a luxury realtor, refer it out. Set a standard. What is your standards? If you're just luxury, why would you be taking a $100,000 listing? Set a standard. What are your standards? That was a huge aha. Minimum standards. Anyone else?
Hey, Tom, I like the word connect. I think that was such a great, simple shift from coming across as needy for referrals to, hey, I just, can you hook me up with somebody? It's so much more casual, so less, I'm gonna use the word, I guess, invasive or demanding or needy. I just thought it's just kind of a neat, some people do every day. I connect you with this guy, this lady, whatever. So I took away the connect. That's a huge one for me.
Yeah, that's great. It is, the recommendation, give me business versus I love to connect with more people. It's just, words can be, it's amazing how I'm very direct. I'm just going to say, give me a recommendation or referral. But sometimes there's always pushback on that. The connect is a very gentle way of getting that person to give you people. So here's one that stood out to me. 85% of people's business will come from follow-up. 85% of your business is truly from follow-up. And by the way, there's no instant gratification in real estate. So what I mean by that is if you talk to someone today, doesn't mean you're going to get it under contract and close tomorrow. A young man that I had coached for several years, he called me about 4 months ago. He goes, Tom, I'm having my best year ever. And by the way, you remember the one person that came to you that I was so upset and frustrated that they didn't want to buy from me or sell with me? They contacted me 3 years later. I said, well, how did they do that? He said, I kept following up with them. By the way, it was a total sale of about $3 million between what they were selling and what they were buying. Okay, so the conversations you have today may not be financially rewarding till 2-3 years from now. It may be more, it may be less. So build the relationship. If you work for the sale, you won't have referrals and you won't have future clients. Any other ahas? We got 5 more minutes and then we're gonna hand it over to George.
Morning, Tom.
CVB.
Golly, what a brave man for coaching you, huh?
I actually asked for forgiveness at the beginning. And he started laughing just like that. So
hey, great guy. And you know what I mean? He got right down to business quick. Those 30 minutes, there was a lot packed in there. You know what I mean? He didn't mess around. So I guess the 4 main things, just out of every conversation, I don't know if you've touched on it yet, that hit me was just, we're digging for a client, a future client, a referral, or a review.
correct.
So I thought that's what hit home with me. That was good.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for sharing, Steve. You
Yes, sir.
guys need to connect. You're from the same area, I think.
I was going to ask him what soccer team or football team rather, but I was afraid other people on the call wouldn't realize. I was going to ask him what football team he supported, but next time. But that was nice of him to take his time,
It was great. Yeah, very good. All right. We got 4 more minutes. Anyone?
Hey, good morning, Tom. It's Justin.
Justin, what's up, big guy?
What's up? For me, I think
Hey, mute that guy, man.
I think for me, first of all, I want to thank you for bringing him on the call. It was, I think, very, very powerful and very informative. And I think a lot of it was for me, I think it showed you that, you know, I think we spoke about it where you break it, like for me, the three things, right? You talk to three people a day and it doesn't have to be like so invasive and so hard, you know, you just, but he also talked about how everybody could have a different style, but you still get the end result. So what I might say to a client and what you might say to a potential client is different, but we're still trying to go for the same goal. Like you might be going for more personal information. I'm going for more occupational or whatever, but it still breaks down to the same end result and just to make it work for you, you know?
Everything works if you just work it.
I think too, just chunking it down like that, Tom, if we, you know what I mean? If we can just get in that mindset daily that all we need to do, the goal for that day is 5 conversations. If every one of us can just, that's 25 closings a year, you know? So I think it's grand. If you get granular with it like that, it doesn't seem so overwhelming.
By the way, that 25 closings is right around 7.5 to 8 million in production. That's you know what? There's not many people in our country earning over $50,000 a year, and 25 closings by talking to 5 people a day is a result of about 150,000 in net income. That's not too bad. We have one of the biggest, best opportunities. You know, we can make way more than an attorney, a doctor. We can make a whole lot more than so many different people and utilize that money for our families, our goals, our future, or whatever it may be. And I didn't have to go to school for 15 years. Okay.
I want to add something. I love this question because it really kind of gets right down to the core for all of us. We all have our goals. We know where we are, where our trajectory should be. We know what we want. So the question I have to ask is, with the information given in front of you, with what Craig brought up today, what you hear on a daily basis, what you see, the things that you're putting into your mind, and my goal would be, my mission would be that there's a nugget every day, something that's just, you got it, like that's going to make a difference. Are you comfortable not taking action and being in the exact same place 3 years from now? Because if you are, there's nothing to do. But if you have loftier goals than where you currently are, if you don't take action, you can expect to be where you are right now 3 years from now. You're going to have to draw a line in the sand and say, as you said, granular, I can talk to 3 people today. And here's the ugly little secret for every single person here. Whatever it is you decide to do, you are not going to be good at it until you do it enough times to get past the rookie. Here's a challenge. If you're right-handed, go brush your teeth with your left hand. You'll be lucky if you don't stick a toothbrush through your lip because you're just not good at it. But if you do it for a couple of weeks, all of a sudden you're going to be ambidextrous in brushing your teeth because you create muscle memory in your mind of what you're doing. You're not going to be good at making that phone call and being as confidently smooth and charming as Craig is, or as direct and forceful as Tom is. But you will over time. The challenge is, the big one that we all face, is we have these lofty goals. We know where we want to be. And the thing is, you can get there. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. You can get there. Imagine if I were standing behind you, pushing you on literally all day long, every day, really just up till noon, every day for the next 3 weeks. I guarantee you, you would be amazing. You would be like, look at me. I'm the shit. And that's true. You would be.
Hey, George, here's a powerful question.
We can't do that with everybody, but what you can do is you can say, I'm going to take action right now, and understand and accept the fact that your actions initially aren't going to be superior.
George, here's here's a powerful question that he hit me with when we first started. And he said to me, he goes, what happens if you don't take action? What does your future look like?
Same as it is now.
Are you okay with that?
Mm-mm.
So if nothing changes and you don't take action, are you okay with that? Is your family, are you okay with that? And if not, there's the alternative is take action. It's not always going to feel good. I read this morning in the Daily Reader, and it said, I might mess it all up, but here's what it said. So if you're working on a project and you feel like you're not getting progress, and someone sees it and goes, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You're on a diet, you don't feel the results 4 weeks in, and someone walks by and says, holy cow, what have you done? What a transformation. Makes you feel good. So as you're making your progress forward, you may not feel it, but you're going to see the results financially, and people are going to start going, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You just had 3, 4 closings, 10 closings. Oh my gosh, what are you doing?
Yep.
Okay. So everything has a process. What happens if you don't take action? What does that look like? And are you okay with that? And if you are, I don't know. Maybe it's great. I don't know. For me, if I don't take action, it's not okay. Not only am I letting myself down, I'm letting a ton of other people down. I'm letting you guys down. So,
Steve, you had something to add to that?
I did, George. I couldn't agree more with you. It's just, it's that pain. If we could get ourselves through, with respects to making calls, it's if you can just subject yourself to that pain for maybe give yourself a 30-day commitment to do it for 30 days. And you're right, you'll be so much more proficient at the end. But if you don't put yourself through that pain, then nothing's going to change. You know what I mean? So it has to be done. If you want to see tangible change, you've got to put yourself in the uncomfortable, pick up the phone, who the heck cares, and do it. That's it.
Yep. Remember, I always end these calls with go out there and tell somebody you love them, which is the key to database. I think what Craig had said added a dynamic to that was even more valuable, but I want to challenge you guys to put yourself in a position where you're not going to be perfect. Joe's our operations manager. Joe, unmute yourself because I am calling you out right now. Just going to do it. So Joe, when you started with us, were you real comfortable leading the onboarding calls at 10 o'clock? It wasn't your comfort level. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're leading it today. Are you comfortable with your skill set after about a month or so of kind of getting through this? You getting a lot better at this?
Yes. Having Tiffany and you, I feel more comfortable when I first started.
Well, you're going through the process of doing things again and again and again and getting better every single time. I mean, I see it. I'm just grateful as hell. Guys, thank you, Joe. I wanted to get a perspective where you've been pushed to do some things that haven't been initially comfortable and you've excelled at it. And every one of you has that same gift inside of you. Every one of you has the power to do things that you don't believe you can do, or more importantly, that I don't know if I'm not going to be good. You're right. Accept it. But you will become good. And at some point, very quickly, you'll become great at it. And in fact, this is the truth. I hate riding my bike. I hated doing that for exercise because I like to walk, but I've got bad knees. But I'll tell you what, I started getting good at it. Now I love it. And the reason I love it is I'm good at it. I mean, I can go for 25 miles, 30 miles, no problem. Because I'm good at it. I know how to do it now. I found the area where it made sense. But at first, it sucked and horrible. And you know what? Bullshit. You do forget how to ride a bike. I know. I fell off the damn thing. It wasn't pretty. People laughed. Lots of people laughed. People stopped their car to laugh. Okay. Do you get this? So, but you can get past that. You can get to good by doing it. What is it? 10,000 hours of practice, Tom? Is that right for mastery? Is that correct?
If you want to master something, it's 10,000 times repetitious. Yeah. You want to, I said to someone one time, and this was said to me, by the way, so that's why I said it to someone. And I think it was John Maxwell that we were in a small group setting. And so John said something about, hey, how come you're not going to the next class we're doing over in Orlando? And I said, I've already been there. He goes, have you been there 10,000 times? He goes, because I haven't even taught it 10,000 times. You know, so when someone says, oh, I've already done that class, I've already done that class, I've already read that book. Well, have you done it 10,000 times? Have you mastered it? I know that script. Well, have you done it 10,000 times to master it? So until someone does it 10,000 times, they're not mastering anything. So guess what? We're all in the same boat by calling for sale runners, by calling expireds, by calling our database. Not many people have done it 10,000 times.
And Tom, we all start with a baseline. How many of you have had a conversation 10,000 times? Everybody's had a conversation. So you all started a pretty adept baseline of having conversations. Now you just have to know what to say, when to say it, and say it to enough people. So don't be too intimidated by it. The other thing that George always talks about is consistency, and he'll mention the reticular activating system and all that. Deep and I had a conversation a week or so ago, and so because of that conversation, I've increased the calling this week, and I've noticed that just increasing the calling, increasing the number of conversations, I find places to have other conversations. So when you're thinking about the business and thinking about conversations, you stumble upon other opportunities to have conversations because it's just in your mind. It's just something you're focusing on. So that's kind of a residual benefit of doing, what you need to be doing in the first place. It just starts to become easier.
Absolutely. And I always look at those things hanging behind you, those guitars or whatever they are, right? And I keep saying to myself, my daughter plays the piano. I can't play the piano. I can't play because I don't practice, right? So if I want to be a pianist and I'm on stage and I don't know how to play it, I'm going to embarrass myself. So I need to practice. And the same thing with scripting and role playing. It's practice. It's practice, practice, practice. Don't practice on the consumer. Practice with a coworker or another agent on this call. There's 65 people right now. There's someone on there right now that will role play with you.
Or bring your spouse involved in this, or your significant other. I mean, they're going to hate it, but they're stuck with you, so they'll do it. And I'm dead serious. Why not? If you know what you're going to say, and I've got to throw this in there, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. Don't get offended by scripts. Don't think, oh, well, scripts, I don't like scripts. Bull-loney. Of course you do. There's a master response. There's a good, a great, and the best response. And every single one of you uses a script. If you are in dialogue with any other human being, you have a best response script that you use. It's programmed. Mine is yes, dear. That's the number one best one I've got. So don't get off on the idea that scripts don't make sense. Practice what you're going to say. Like what Craig was going through was fantastic. I'm of the fan of my focus is about letting them know that they're loved and they're cared for and that they're important. And that's the conversation. But I love how he added to that. Guys, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to take action because again, and I'm leaving you with this. 3 years from now, do you want to be exactly where you are? Because if you do exactly what you're doing. 3 years from now, if you want to be something better, and get this right, get this clearly, go forward 3 years. Are you good? Is everything perfect? If the answer isn't a resounding yes, then you're going to have to make some form of change, or you can expect that to be the case. And I don't want that to be the case for any of you unless it is good and perfect right now. If it's better, take action. Make those phone calls. Do whatever it is. Put the line in the sand. You know what it is you have to do. You have 2 lead generation sources, maximum 3 that get 90% of your focus. Are you focused? Because if you do, I guarantee it'll work. But if you do, 3 years from now, you look back, you're like, wow, what an amazing ride. And remember, some fat guy that looks funny riding a bike and falls off the bike and now gets better at it. You are going to be that fat. You're going to be me falling off the damn bike. But 3 years down the road, you look back, you go, wow, remember when I couldn't do that? And how is this different? What an amazing journey this has been. I never thought I could get this far, this fast. You can do whatever it is you choose, but it will take you it'll take you doing action. Imagine I'm standing behind you. Worse, Tom, imagine Martin standing behind you. He's big, scary, and mean. Seriously. And he's like, you're going to do what you said you're going to do. And he makes you do it. And he stays on you and you do it. I guarantee every one of you, if you hired Martin and said, listen, I'm going to give you $1,000 a day or $100, $150 a day, let's not go broke, $300 a day, whatever that comes out to for $26,000. And I want you to stay on me every single day for the first 4 hours a day and make sure I'm perfect for 20 days. Most of you are going to walk out with at least 5 or 6 new transactions. I guarantee it. He's going to have you making phone calls. He's going to have you doing things on purpose. But imagine Tom behind you going, do it, damn it, do it. And you having to push yourself through it just for 4 hours a day, because that's really when we work. 4 to 5 sales will come from that from him doing that. I promise you, because you're taking action. Now put that on yourself and keep saying, do I want to be the same or do I want to go there? There's a mountain in front of you, climb it. When you get on top, the view is spectacular. I am here to tell you, every one of you deserves freedom. That's my big why. Daryl, you were first. Deborah, you're next.
Yeah, George, I can't emphasize scripts enough. I was having this conversation with Tiffany last week, and scripts give us the form of what we need to say, but eventually it opens up the freedom to bring our personality into it. So we're constantly scripting. And I told Tiffany, I said, you ever that time like when you were a kid and you screwed up and you're having to come to Jesus with your parents and you're trying to explain what happened? Like in your head, you're scripting, what am I going to tell my parents to get me out of trouble, the least amount of trouble, to make it not as bad, whatever. Or if you have kids, you're going to have a come to Jesus with your kids. You're scripting, how am I going to chew their butt? So we script all the freaking time. So all we have to do is take our real estate scripts that we have, look in the mirror, do it, not memorize it, but make it a part of ours. And then before you know it, it's going to roll off your tongue in your tone of voice, in your personality, in your way. And wham, next thing you know, you're doing it. So we script all the time. So scripts is just a way of drilling a specific set, particularly real estate in this industry. So it becomes more comfortable. So dive into the scripts, my friends. That's all I got.
Outstanding. Thank you, brother, very, very much. We need to hear that. Deborah, go ahead.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you for all the encouragement and everything that comes from this group, not only from George, but from Tom and everyone else that helps to hold our classes. Because as y'all know, I am a newer agent as well, but just to have the push and the encouragement that comes from all the different people in here and all the questions that I've had that's got answered, after today, I will have completed my mentorship, thankfully. Yay. But then my biggest aha coming from today was the simple question, are you in your forever home? That's a question that we don't really reach out and ask our database very often. We just come up with conversation. But after looking at him asking that question today on here and how many hands were not raised, and then how many hands were raised, and are you moving in 5 years? That was just remarkable to see. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to piggyback on top of that, Deborah, because you brought up something that it didn't get brought up until just now, and it's so important. So if you're talking to a friend, are you in your forever home? No. Well, where are you planning on going? Well, 3 years from now, I'm planning on moving. Why 3 years? What's the trigger for that? Well, my kids are out of school. Okay. That's 2024, and that's June. I now know when they're moving. How powerful is that? Now, does that mean you're going to get business right now? No, some of it may be down the road, and absolutely right. But you can start to plan on that. Is anybody here not going to be in real estate for the next in 5 years? Raise your hand if you're not. The ones I can see. If you're not going to be in real estate in 5 years, raise your hand. Right. So why wouldn't we want to know forward? And you're right. Are you in your forever home is a brilliant question. I wrote that down immediately. That is something I'm going to do it. Will, I'm going to call you out again. Memorize, internalize, personalize. Daryl, same thing you're just talking about. Will, well put, well said. Love that.
George,
yeah.
Real quick, just to piggyback off of what Daryl said. Hopefully we're all going to level up. So I wanted to gauge. We got quite a few responses on that script and role play that I wanted to start. I'm going to roll it out Tuesday. I'm thinking Tuesday and Thursday, 10 to 8 to 8:15. That doesn't interfere with anything that you have going, right?
Not at all. Do you want to, may I suggest we do it after the summit, since we've got a lot of people saying I'm committing to making a change in my business by joining it?
if that's what you suggest.
I would
mean,
think
yeah.
that would be a good way to start it. That gives you the extra week and a half, 2 weeks now, to get that up and squared away. But that way there's not that gap in there, because I know you're going to be there with your crew as well.
We are, sir.
Yep.
If you guys can, at least the people on this call, I just dropped email and name in the chat. So if you can just shoot me an email, so I have your contact information, and then we'll try to build the list and then roll it out after the summit.
Awesome. There we go. There's
Thank you,
Steve.
George.
I'm going to redrop it, Steve, just to make sure we get that in there. So it's the very last one on there, folks. I'll let Tom do the final on this. I'm going to say one thing. Part of taking action is saying I'm going to do something that originally may come across as a little uncomfortable. Here is the ugly secret about the summit, the GPS summit we're putting on. It costs me money every time we do it, but it makes me money because you show up and your business goes up and your energy goes through the roof. And ultimately that ends up recouping. This is an investment in all of you. The $99 that we charge is because I don't have $35,000 to put into this. If I did, I'd just do it. But the $99 is an investment in your success. The extra money that it may cost is an investment in your success, because your success is my success. I am that committed. I want you to be the same level of commitment, because ultimately we're talking about your goals. These are some of the best people in real estate that are flying in at their personal expense for you. I was informed, and God, I wish I would have noticed this, that it is my understanding that this falls on a holiday, on a Jewish holiday, and that is just piss poor planning on my part. If it does and you're unable to make it, please accept my apologies, because that was never the intention to minimize the importance of a holiday. But for everybody else, if you're not of the Jewish faith, you need to be here for you and for your family and for what the next 3 years look like, because this changes your momentum. I want all of you to get the idea, because somebody said, well, don't you make a lot of money on that? No, I lose money every time. Last time I lost like $4,000. It wasn't lost, so I invested $4,000. This is being done because you deserve it. And because, quite honestly, these are people I know personally, just by happenstance, by luck. I happen to have as good friends the leaders in the industry. I'm digging it. So I'm leveraging what I know so that they get there, and they get to be there for you so that you get the benefit. Make the investment in yourself, please. It doesn't benefit me financially. You're not helping me. It's not like I'm putting money in my pocket. It's because you deserve everything these guys can have to offer. We're going to spend the next 2.5 weeks tweaking every single thing on here to make it as awesome as possible, to set a standard that blows away last time and makes it even better. But it only works if you come. No, we're doing great on the things. We're over halfway sold out, which is terrific, because we sold the last one out in 2.5 weeks. We got a week and a half left. I'm fairly sure it's going to sell out. I'm actually very sure it's going to sell out. But get your ticket now. Make your commitment, because this is about you. This is a day and a half of massive energy, great friendship, a hell of a lot of fun, and people you haven't met that will change and support your business as you grow. If you don't get involved, if you don't talk to your friends that are already here, that are already business partners of ours, and say, let's go, let's just do this, let's just make this happen. Everybody's got $100 they can invest.
Can I just say, I want to kind of step in just for a second. When you were talking about the $99 and the investment, Bob Proctor had really given me an aha. And he says, you know what? He says, I can give away all of my classes for free. He says, including my family. And he went through a story, taking it really short. He said, there's just a different value. When you pay for something, you take ownership of it, and you have a more value on the situation. Even if we could all go for free, that would be awesome. But once we put an investment of ourselves into it, I feel like, at least me personally, I take something away from it with a greater value, because I place myself on the line. I just want to put that out there.
Agreed. Agreed. I think that's accurate. And I've heard that many, many times, that if you're going to invest something in it, you have more. You don't give something away that is of value to somebody. If they pay even a nominal amount, it makes a huge difference in their emotional commitment to it.
George,
Thank you for sharing that. Hold on one sec, Tom. One sec. Daryl, go ahead, buddy.
All right, I'm gonna have to
Thank
get
you.
on the
I'm
on the
clapping
road.
for Kelly here. I think that was, yeah. Thanks, Kelly. The clap hand.
Oh, cool. Got it. Tom, you want something? Then Krista, real quick. Tom Martin, then Krista.
Listen, I got an appointment, so I'm leaving the computer screen right now.
Okay.
So I'll get on that way there. So I'll just end the call that way.
All right,
George.
we're gonna wrap it up pretty quick because I'm supposed to be working right now.
George,
Krista, you first, then
George.
Jay. Krista, go ahead, hon.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to kind of give a testimonial. I did go to my first, I wasn't with EXP in February when the first one you had this year. And I feel like if I had not gone to it, I would probably not be here today. And then I connected with several, speakers, and some speakers I didn't connect with, but, I think if I had not been there, my business would not be where I am and I would not have this opportunity. So I think it's very important to go to these events.
Well, you were also in Dallas at Build, because
I was
talking to a friend of yours there that we had an opportunity, Tony and I had an opportunity to meet. So you're continuing to inundate yourself with positive momentum and energy, which obviously is showing up in your business. Krista, thank you. It was great meeting you in person in Dallas, and I can't wait to see you in Orlando at the summit. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. DeFalco,
Yeah.
Jay, you had somebody.
I have been on the edge of my bed all morning. Did Bobby pull through, or did you have to pull the plug? Please tell us.
I found a blue law, and I was able to legally shoot him yesterday when he broke his leg. Blue law is like a blue law is a law that it comes. They're laws that have been on the books forever. And like in Connecticut, a blue law is you can't shave on Sunday if you're a man or a woman. And you also can't sit within 36 inches of somebody on a public bench. Those are blue laws that are still there, but aren't enforced. And I found one that said if somebody breaks his leg in a certain place and there is a probable chance that recovery isn't going to happen, and he is Cuban, as Bobby is, and is my wife, that we can legally put him to sleep. So I took care of it. No, he's doing fine. He was actually helping us on board a bunch of people. We had like 55 people onboarding yesterday with the brokerage that said this is the better model so the agents could be successful. And he muscled through. He did great. I will tell you that the story about Bobby breaking his leg by screaming is in fact incorrect. However, the doctor said, and I quote, when they looked at Bobby's 2 breaks, he goes, I see this all the time. It is the #1 break that people wearing high heels get all the time. It is. There's an ankle, and then the tibia gets broken, and it is caught more than anybody else. Women in high heels get this. So I'm going to think Bobby may have to explain the high heel situation at some point in the future, Jay. But that's the gospel truth now. No spider stories or bug stories. That was what happened. High heels.
Dude,
Thank you for informing us.
I can't wait till Bobby heals up and he takes you down.
I'm hoping that I can run faster afraid than he can angry.
Bobby's probably going to hit. Bobby's probably going to hit him with his car when he's on his bicycle.
Right.
The door opens up. Sorry, George. Didn't know that was you.
Can you just imagine standing over? He'll be standing over going, "Damn boy, that looked like it hurt."
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's right. Deborah nailed it. You're right. So the first conference, Tony breaks his arm due to walking his dog. Now we got poor Bobby. We got to get him up together. That's a great call, Deborah. You're absolutely right.
The sad truth is Tony's story is true.
Bobby's was too. I don't know about the high heel part, but he was definitely walking his dog. All right, listen. Tiff is out she's in school.
I actually just sat down.
Tiff is back. She made it back. So I'm going to turn over the after party and I'm out because I am 10 minutes past getting my butt to work. I got prospecting to do.